Hello out there, welcome to Six Wins, and today we are continuing our best TV show bracket of all time. We're over on our comedy side, and so we've got to talk about you look super pumped. I just was looking at you and you're like, yeah, I'm ready for this one. I'm ready for comedy. We're big comedy fans. I think we probably enjoy more comedy shows than dramas overall and have seen more comedies. So I think we get excited to talk about these. The matchup we're talking about, it's in the title. You saw it but if you want to hear it, I don't want to imply that you can't read. Maybe you just choose not to. Which is totally fair. But we're going to be talking about our Sweet 16 matchup. And this is, these are two of the most popular mainstream comedies of all time. They also have their fair amount of haters because they're so popular. But we're talking about The Office versus Friends. I mean, kind of like your most popular, well-remembered 90s sitcom comedy versus kind of your most popular 2000s comedy, The Office. I mean, this is the heavyweights. Yeah. We're ready for it.
Yeah. And the fact they're meeting in the Sweet 16 is pretty wild. Yeah. I feel like if this was the finals of the whole comedy side, they'd be like, oh, that's legit.
For sure.
Friends versus Office.
Yeah, this is, to some people, for fans of this style of comedy, more so than a dark humor. Although we've talked about Office, it can get dark. Friends not so much. But for people that are kind of fans more of that situational comedy and things like that, this is the Game of Thrones X-Files matchup for me. For those people, this is their finals. It might be
totally.
So, fortunately, I have seen a good chunk of both of these shows. I'll kick off my thoughts first. I would say I've probably seen more Office than Friends, but maybe it's just because I've seen more Office more recently than Friends. Yeah. But Friends was one of those shows that was always on, and eventually you just leave it on because you start getting older and you go, oh, these women are attractive, and these guys are kind of funny, and I end up liking everybody. They all have these oh, look at everybody, they got a little character, they're a little type, and you start to get them, and you start to be like, yeah, I know this person. They say so internally consistent. And you kind of like that. Same with The Office, too, but I think The Office has a lot more very niche, really intriguing personality types that are a bit more realistic, but are so out there that they're more believable because people aren't these really tight, consistent personalities that sometimes 90s sitcoms portrayed, where they kind of always stay the same. And other than a little bit of tension here and there, I don't get the girl or not get the girl and things like that. The Office is look at all of us weirdos with all of our weird quirks, and you're I don't know this quirk on a person, but I know a person just as weird with a quirk, and so you're this is so realistic.
You talking about the Office characters?
Yeah, the Office characters.
That to me is why they needed Jim. I've heard a lot of hate around Jim. Just be oh, he's a sociopath. Why does he always pick on Dwight? It's you need that straight-laced kind of normal character to accentuate. You can't just have a gaggle of whack bags.
I love it. That's true. Yeah. Do you feel he stood in as that role, kind of?
Yeah, I thought he was fairly cool. He did the impressions of the people in the office, and he was just the one that I feel most people could be there's the normal one, there's the regular one, and now the way he plays off Dwight and the way he plays off Stanley and Michael, and just has that kind of even keel, dry humor in response to them.
That's fair.
I thought he was a pretty imperative character.
Yeah, that's fair. I never really saw him or positioned him like that in my own mind. But yeah, for me, I think both shows are funny. I don't have any hate against either of the shows. Yeah. I do like to hate on people that list it in their bios about themselves or a dating profile and be if you my friends, we talk about this, we quote it all the time. I don't know if being a diehard fan of a show is a personality trait, so I like to make fun of people for that.
Fair.
You can have some other hobbies and passions. What do you do? Not what have you seen? But it's fine. I just like to pick on people. I don't take it people want to list that. That's fine. But I just think it's funny, and it's the kind of thing that I do to roast people.
Swipe left on that.
Go. All right.
Which way? It's hard because it's reversed.
Yeah. This is left for us.
But
that might
right,
be left for you.
Right for you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like you almost don't believe it unless you're talking to a person. Like anybody can write this because maybe they're just trying to like chameleon themselves in and be like, yeah, Office, Friends. Like, well, do you have a personality or have you just only watched a thing that everybody else liked and agreed? Like, I want to see your quirk. Like the Office characters. That's why they're so likable, and that's why I picked The Office as the better comedy for Friends. Over to you.
Cool. Friends. I grew up watching Friends, and most people I would say my age preferred Friends over I feel like Friends and Seinfeld was the battle in the 90s. I was team Friends all the way. That's just what we watched in our house. That's what I kind of got accustomed to. I got accustomed to the characters, the Chandlers, the Joeys, the Ross, the Monica. Everybody knows the six. But as I've gotten older, I've become more team Seinfeld. I just feel like I find Seinfeld funnier than I did back when I was 14, 15 years old. But I feel like the humor has aged a little bit better too. Or maybe it's one of those cases where I've just seen Friends so many times that the jokes aren't surprising anymore. I haven't watched all of Seinfeld, so maybe Seinfeld's just new and fresh to me now.
Yeah.
Who knows? But classic episodes of Friends. It's like, how do I boil Friends down in a 15-minute video? I just want to talk about like some of my favorite moments.
Yeah.
I really love the episode where it all takes place in the apartment, and Ross has this big speech to give at this thing for his job, and he's trying to get everybody ready all in this time, and it's just classic. All of their character traits get to shine. So basically, Chandler is sitting in this chair, right? And he gets up to get changed. Or no, he gets up to go to the bathroom. And then Joey sits in his chair. And then Chandler comes out of the bathroom. He's like, all right, get up. And he's like, what do you mean? He goes, you're in my seat. He goes, how is this your seat? He goes, I just went to the bathroom. It's not like I went to Spain. Like, give me this. And so they have this whole fight over the chair. And Joey's finally gives in. He gives him the chair, but he takes the cushions. And Chandler's like, what are you doing? He goes, you wanted the chair. I'm taking the cushion. He goes, but the cushions are the essence of the chair. And he goes, that's right. I'm taking the essence. I think Chandler runs out of underwear, so he wears a pair of Joey's.
Yeah.
And so Joey's like, all right, you take my underwear. I'm going to do the exact opposite to you. And he goes, what does that mean? And so he comes in wearing all of Chandler's clothes. Like, puts on every single piece of Chandler's clothes. So it's just nothing big, nothing extravagant is happening, but that tension the whole time that like Ross is really trying to get him out the door. And then Ross and Rachel get in the fight, classic fight. But that to me is just Friends at its best. And there's a ton more episodes that are that good. Like there's the other episode where Joey and Chandler think they know Monica and Rachel better than Monica and Rachel know Joey and Chandler.
I may have seen this one. That sounds familiar.
So Ross gets into it and he comes up with a big trivia game for them all. Classic episode. One of the questions, Ross is like, Monica and I had a grandmother who died. You both went to her funeral. Name that grandmother. And then Joey's like, turns to Chandler and goes, Nana? And then Chandler's like, she has a real name. And then Ross is like, 2 seconds. And then Joey's like, Althea! Chandler's like, Althea, what are you doing? Joey's like, I don't know, I took a shot. He goes, you're shooting with Althea? And then Ross is like, Althea's correct. And then Chandler's like, nice shooting. just very good writing in some of those episodes. But The Office, man, God, The Office, I would say, is kind of, in a way, Friends on steroids. It had... Good. For the 6 main cast members, I feel like The Office is like, I'll see your 6 main characters and I'll raise you like 6 more. Because there's like, you want to talk about the 6 main characters in Friends, it's just like, all right, well, Michael, Dwight, Andy, Jim, fill in the blank, Angela and Pam maybe. And then there's like a Stanley, there's Daryl, there's Oscar, Creed, like these 6 additional, and I just feel like it's just bigger, and I feel like out of the 2 shows, my personal favorite character is Michael Scott. Like, I think he's just so funny, and he's just so offensive so often, but he does it with like a kind heart, kinda, and it's almost like he has like some sort of ASD or autism where like he just doesn't get social norms and social cues, and it's just so funny. And for that reason, even though Friends has a super soft spot in my heart, I gotta go to The Office. I'm going to The Office.
We're both in agreement on The Office.
Going
I
Office.
think with the more characters they can have, they can do more comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's more room where they can like. Well, we have a character like Friends. You might have like some great bits or some great things, but like none of our characters really do this. It would be like really weird. Like it would be too spiteful, and we don't have like spiteful characters. And like Michael Scott is a character that can like, if he gets in a bad mood, do something spiteful every once in a while. Like he'll still be like, "Well, I was trying to get him back because he didn't," you know, like he's justified it, and it comes off comedically because he is that kind of character that can pull it off.
Yeah.
So like I think Office lends itself to being able to do more comedic things and have a wider range of comedy.
Right. And I'm trying to think, because I use the analogy like 6 versus 6 characters. If
6 wins versus 6 wins characters.
Yeah,
Is that what
which, watch out, best TV show characters coming up.
Best 6 wins characters.
Yeah.
I think I hope we make the finals.
I hope I'm in a 1 seed.
Stevis might pull the upset over one of us.
I know.
Good Stevis.
Yeah. I'm trying to pull 6 extra characters out of Friends that weren't necessarily the 6 main characters. And to be fair, like, I feel like Monica and Ross's dad is pretty damn funny. Mom kind of funny. And then Phoebe's brother's funny, played by Giovanni Ribisi. Her brother Frank, he's in a handful of episodes, he's funny. But then, like...
So it was just cameos at that point.
Yeah.
Instead of, like, consistent characters.
Right, then there's, like, Gunther the coffee guy is just, like, okay. So, yeah, I'm sticking with The Office. And when the voting all came down on Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram, who is going on to the Elite 8 to face the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air?
It is The Office. Those people out in Scranton,
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania, the Dunder Mifflin crew. The Office is moving on.